Okay, welcome to episode 14. This is the third installment of a three-part episode on sexual assault. And if you've been following, episode 12 was centered on women, episode 13 focused on men, and now we're just sort of wrapping it all up. And it's dawned on me that there were a couple of things I didn't address in the last two episodes. I made no mention of sexual assault as it relates to same-sex or transgender relationships, and there's a good reason why. I know little to nothing about the LGBTQ community with respect to sexual assault, so I would rather wait until I'm more educated and informed on that subject than to make some goofy ass, thoughtless, half-baked remark. So that's why. The second oversight is a little more in-depth on boundaries and double standards, but I think is very relevant to sexual assault. Not critical or crucial, but worthy of mentioning. There are, there's social situations where women do grope men, and it's widely accepted socially, in my opinion. Whether it's at the gym or some bar or some other social setting, many of us have seen women squeeze a guy's biceps, shoulders, or like their chest muscles, or kind of give them the old Joe Biden hand rub on a body part, usually upper body. So it's like, okay. I mean, it kind of makes you wonder, is this like a hypocritical sort of thing? Like, do women think about that? I've seen it. Women have done it to me. I don't think, it didn't come across as somebody was trying to violate me. It just kind of, I don't know, it just makes you think about the shoe being on the other foot. And I'm not personally offended when it happens. I do joke with women about it playfully, in sort of like I'll ask the question like, in what world could I get away with kind of being handsy with you without getting a drink thrown in my face, maybe getting slapped, or getting the threat of being arrested? And before anyone thinks, it's different, men don't mind. Wrong. Sometimes we do mind. We don't always want to be touched by all women for different reasons. Whether it's just, we're not in the mood or we're not attracted to that person. The difference is, most men aren't going to make a big deal out of it. Some guys will wait until said woman walked away before kind of frowning or just kind of being like, bleh, I didn't like being touched by that woman. Same situation with some women. I don't know. But having said that, we know as men we're generally not at risk of being in any kind of peril when it comes to a sexual assault from a woman. I mean, not even remotely. There's no need to fuck around on that. But I wonder if women ponder if some women should be held accountable in a comparable way to their male counterparts when women are handsy and when women are making unwanted advances towards men. It happens. Again, I've seen it. Other men have seen it. Chances are a lot of women have that memory as well. So you ask a question, should we hold women to the same standard with regards to personal space? Again, putting the shoe on the other foot. It makes you wonder, would women accept a man or a group of men going on social media and expressing their disdain for a woman's unwanted advances? Or would you insult the guy by calling him a wimp or calling him a pussy? It makes you wonder. Like there's so much discussion about women getting equal pay and equal rights and allowing women to serve in the military and partake in combat, and a lot of us are behind that. I say if you want all those things, fine, go ahead. Just something to think about. So kind of moving on, we should remember that romance is very complicated, maybe more complicated than we like to acknowledge. Yeah, it's very layered. I mean, it reminds me of something that Dr. Jordan Peterson once said in describing the optics of a helicopter. And I hope I'm quoting him right, but I'll try to paraphrase. He's basically talking about how straightforward, the optics of a helicopter is. But then when you sort of dive beneath the veneer and you're looking at the engineering and the wiring and everything else that goes into what makes a helicopter fly as a vessel, it's a very intricate system. And I think following that analogy, so is romance and so is dating, especially when two fresh acquaintances are getting to know each other. The intricacies are just so much deeper. And the deeper you dive in being intimate with somebody, the more complex that relationship can get. I think that's largely because we're dealing with a significant amount of fixed and changing variables with the personality. I mean, not to get too fucking nerdy on you. In other words, I think people have personality traits that are permanent fixtures, like they'll go to the graveyard with them, and then factoring in also that we change our principles, and there are different quirks that arise or transform over time. I've changed over time. I see it in other people. Maybe you see it in yourself. So in some respects, it kind of reminds me of this ever-changing word problem that you may remember from your algebra class or whatever. But ask yourself, have you experienced that? You're in some kind of relationship, and on Monday, your relationship, things are normal. 3 + 3 is 6. And then a month later, 3 + 3 is 10. And you're like, hold on. Like, what happened to 3 + 3 being 6? Something goofy happens? I don't know. But I think at the end of the day, we're smart, but we're not that smart. We're not smart enough to completely understand tons and tons of variables where we can factor the human mind and years of evolutionary biology and walk away the pristine clarity of how best to get along or how best to carry on a relationship with somebody. And that's why, or one of many reasons why, I think we have to remember to be patient, be respectful, allow each other to make mistakes when we're trying to date and get to know one another. Ladies, I think it's to your benefit that you accept this reality if you want men to pursue and court you. Men are going to make mistakes. Fellas, you got to keep this in mind when women may reject your advances or just bring things to a screeching halt. Our communication and intentions don't always land as intended. That's just the game. That's just how things are. And when I say we, I mean both genders. We both sometimes broadcast the wrong message. Sometimes it muddies the water. And I think it's important to remember empathy. To have empathy is to understand, or try to understand, have an awareness and a sensitivity towards another person. Understanding who this other person is and where this person is coming from helps us to grasp motive, state of mind, intention, and give us, I want to say, explanations of what these other person's actions mean, what the spirit of them are. So people I think, make very specific behavioral decisions that are born from personality and, again, past experiences. Maybe a person has some dysfunction in their background. You factor in culture, race, a lot of things. Stylistically, men and women do things a certain way because, well, sometimes it's all they know. Sometimes they do things at work, but they also maneuver in specific ways because maybe they've been burned in the past. So a person's actions may not necessarily be directed towards you personally, and it doesn't mean you have to be in agreement with what they do, and it definitely doesn't mean people get a blank check to mistreat you. It's not what I'm talking about. So kind of going on, accountability, be accountable for your romantic actions. This covers a spectrum for the words we use, the clothes we wear, the physical contact we initiate, and the physical contact we receive. Your knee-jerk reaction may be to cast blame when dating gets hairy or messy or there's a lot of conflict, but it is good to be responsible for your role in the situation. No matter how unpleasant it may be, you had a part in it. Doesn't sound good, doesn't always feel good to accept that, but we do have a role in the situations we find ourselves in. And I think the last thing I'll touch on is the kind of counsel that we give and receive from each other when it comes to matters of the heart. It's better for everyone if we give our friends and family the counsel they need rather than the counsel that they want. Sometimes I hear my friends talking and they're asking for advice or, a shoulder to cry on or what have you, and it just sounds very familiar in a sense of they don't necessarily want to hear the truth. They want me to agree with them. They want me to side with them and tell, maybe trash some other person or this specific gender, and that serves nobody. It's you got to tell your friends when they're on the wrong side of an argument or when they're walking down some dangerous path romantically. This is how you show loyalty to your friends and your loved ones. I don't know. When my female friends ask me for feedback on dating, I support them if they're right, but if they're on some wacky ego trip or just totally off base, I'll let them know. I expect the same from them when I ask for their advice, because I really want to know. Sometimes I don't like what I'm hearing. Sometimes I don't like when I get back, but I would rather sit with a person's truth than to get my ego stroked. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up. Same spiel as last time, gang. Email if you want to reach out with feedback, ideas for a show, whatever you want to get off your mind. The email is info@themisconnected.com. If you're telling your friends about it, the show is on every platform: iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, Google, YouTube, Twitter. The Twitter handle is MisconnectedP. That's Misconnected, letter P, all one word. So on Instagram, The Misconnected Podcast. Same thing with Patreon, The Misconnected Podcast. Thanks for joining. I will get with you guys on the next go around. Peace.